All right, shalom and blessings. I want to welcome you back. I think I got my sound issues worked out, but I want to pick up where I left off, and I want to sort of reiterate the point that I was making about the relationship between our brothers and sisters, the things that we see happening today. We see somewhat of a war between our brothers and sisters. And what I want to show is that this war that you see happening between our brothers and sisters, like our condition as a people, is rooted in the Bible, and it can be traced back to the Bible. You know, I'm a person who believes that every aspect of life, the Most High's word deals with it in some way, form, or fashion. And so, if we want to understand our condition as a people, it's through the word, it's through the scripture, and understanding our history that we get that understanding. And it's the same way with understanding why do we see the things we see happening between our brothers and sisters. If we be technical, that's really the first sort of offset that happened between our people. You know, scientifically, it's been proven that the first man and the first woman was black. And so if we apply all that biblically, you know, and we apply the history and everything, we know that that's dealing with our ancestors. And so whatever Satan did in the garden created an offset into what we see now. You know, it's like a domino effect, so to speak. And all we have to do is look at what happened then and sort of compare that to what we see happening in the earth now to understand why we see happening between our brothers and our sisters. Now, I'm only focused on us. You know, a lot of times when you start talking about things that happen between us, it gets deflected by, you know, looking at other people or comparing ourselves to what other people do. But I'm only focused on us. All right, real quick, I want to go back over the passages in the book of Deuteronomy. All right, let me see. This is Deuteronomy 28 in verse 45. It says, "Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim to keep his commandments and his statutes which he command thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever." All right, so the curses that's on our people, the Most High said, will be as a result of us not, our forefathers not keeping his commandments and his statutes. And he said that these curses would be upon us for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So the war that we see between our brothers and our sisters is a result of the curse that was placed on us. All right. So let's get right into it. 54, he said, "So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave." All right. And this is somewhat of a result of what we see today with, um, you know, the idea of our brothers leaving their children, leaving their wives, leaving their children. All right. That's not so much so now, you know, but this is um, something that was happening a lot amongst our people, you know, and as a result of the curse that's on our people. Verse 56, it says, "The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness, and tenderness. Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. All right. So forth and so on. So letting you know that dealing with the woman, that her eye will be evil toward her husband, just like the husband's eye will be evil toward his wife and toward his children. The same thing will happen to the woman among our people. All right. Her eye will be evil toward her husband and toward her children. And before I dealt with my sound issue, I was laying the foundation to show that what we see happening between our brothers and sisters is a result of the curse that was placed on us. All right. And just like we can trace that in scripture, we can go back and look and see that the condition of the man and the woman today, our brothers and our sisters today, can also be rooted in the history and what happened in the Bible. And so what I want to do real quick, I want to play a video. And this is a video that we familiar with. It's an old video. It's by P4CM, and it's dealing with their rendition of the Adam and Eve story. All right, so I want to play this, and then afterwards I'm gonna come back and chime in and give some thoughts. All right.
So I guess it was convenient for you to turn your back on the woman who held your spine.
Woman, you were brought forth from my side, created to support me like the gravity-stricken moon does the brisk breath of nightfall. But when fear clawed its way into my heart, when he called my name in the garden, you shrunk and hid your shameful body. Where were you
when the Prince of Night found his way to your star? Him lie. And I watched you sit and set like sun, you mourning of a man. You can't even see the nightmare you have become.
I was there, standing in a distance, having a conversation with my backbone. I wanted to stop you, but you let that evil reptile with eyes, slow dancing with deceit and tongue, swift as breeze, woo you dumb to think we could be wise as the God who thought the galaxies into existence.
Adam, I thought he was my friend, letting me in on secrets God Pinky promised the leaves not to tell. He pointed me to the tree, told me of what I was missing, and as my faith in his lies led me to stare, I watched death become gorgeous.
But God is beautiful.
Adam, my tongue became sight. The fruit looked too good not to taste.
And see that God is good.
God is thief. He kept us from the one thing he knew would turn our minds dear.
No, God is wise. Eve, can't you see? In our feast for knowledge, we have become fools. Searching for wisdom in a mere branch, we forgot about the God who had the power to grow us from dust with no roots. His mind is wide as sky, and we were free as clouds, but now the silent hum of shame echoes the land. The eerie chill of Father's curse crawls across our conscience, and the very river we bathe our naked souls in is damned because of you. What have you done?
Do not blame me for murder and name yourself victim as if we are not both ghosts with skin. You left me for dead. Did you forget the sixth day when God made you from dust?
But he made you from me for me. While sleeping, he called you from my cage, bones beautiful, but you, with your private disposition, switched positions and tried to lead. Took heed to a four-legged snake without consulting me first. You didn't respect me.
He gave you authority. He made you the head of us, but you became neck. I can still see the apple stuck in your throat. Adam, swallow your pride. You were supposed to lead me, yet I am to blame. Your wife, your Eve, the one who is now shamed once beauty the moment you saw her breathe. Maybe I should noose a ribbon around my neck, make a skirt of wrapping paper, stuff my natural naked chest with leaves. Maybe then these bones will be enough gift for you again, this flesh enough body for you to bathe in. The day you remove God from your soul, emptied your nest of his glories, the day you beg me to take his place, fill your voids, become this image of perfection to satisfy your insecurities.
God forbid
our sons grow up treating their sisters like cemeteries, stacking their bodies and bones in one closet to wear as one flesh every time they want to feel alive.
Eve, please understand that you further prove my point. That prideful organ ruined beneath your breast beats with no submission for your husband. And for this, your future daughters would not be quiet, gentle, but some would be loud as nagging crows, scavenging on the dead earlobes of men. Their bodies, sculpted for God's glory, will become lures, enticing our sons to sin, and they will. These women, your offspring, will hand their souls over to men who are not their God. They will kneel for value at the altar of man's approval, but that worship would not make them whole nor holy.
Do you see what you've done? You made this about you by blaming me. We are both sin wrapped in flesh, both broken creations, stained glass windows with no shine, no sun, no light. We are both dark, imperfect, lost.
We are fallen. Wife, I'm sorry. Have you any idea how shameful my insides scream for not protecting the only woman I've ever known and loved from the sting of death? I feel like a lonely grave, wallowing in a walking coffin of a body, waiting for a voice louder than my fears to resurrect this scared corpse of a man I buried 6 feet under guilt. But believe me when I tell you, you are still the woman my vision sung to when I first saw you in Eden, Eve, even if God chose to separate us for 1,000 years for what we have done. I'll write you every day faithful, and my letters will literally litter the land with love, my lady. But excuse me, if the blood on my hands still drips thick with condemnation, I can only pray that this venom doesn't poison our unborn son, Cain. There is nothing but murder living in my genes, and I would die if he follows in his father's footsteps.
Husband, forgive me in my limbs and the heart that led them away from the safety of your palms. The parachute folded beneath the bloodstream I left in vain. I promise I will never try to fly without you again. Your word is wind, and I would be fooled to disrespect the tornado I was created to love. You mentioned our sons, but remember our God. Remember what he told devil as he cursed serpent. He spoke of my womb, and from it a seed will come. The devil will strike his heel, but our seed will crush his head. Yes, we are dying, but one day we may rise from the dead. We are not hopeless. Mercy has its sights set on the sinners, and its source is our God.
He will rescue us out of the sea of sin.
Like hands beneath a drowning soul, a rainbow before the lightning bolt speaks, he reigns.
When the clouds crack their shell, our God will appear and show us his yoke is easy.
A light too mighty for anything pitch black to trap our backs back behind that cage we crave. The way of escape is near if we wait with hope, nailed to our faith. The truth cross-stitched to our burdened bodies. The life stretching like the arms of the horizon, rising for all to see. The sun still lives. Eve, forgive me. Adam, forgive me. God,
we tried to be our own God.
Please forgive us.
All right, so that was a video, an older video by P4CM, and that was a rendition of the scene of what took place in the garden between Adam and Eve. And I didn't play that scene because I feel that that's the exactly what went down. You know, we're gonna read the history of that, but since we're dealing particularly with the brothers and the sisters, all right, black men and a black woman, I played that because that rendition brings out a lot of things that I want to address. All right. When the scene first opened up, it started out with Eve sort of, sort of confronting Adam on the fact that she felt abandoned, or she felt that Adam left her abandoned. All right. This is one of the narratives that we hear concerning this the event that took place between Adam and Eve. We hear that when Adam when the Most High pretty much approached Adam, that Adam said that the woman gave him the fruit, and that was pretty much him abandoning her. And so it started from that, and then it went into a back and forth. And so the whole scene is sort of played out what we're used to, what we're used to seeing, particularly as a people, with the relationship between the man and the woman, sort of a back and forth, up and down, who can give the best punchline kind of situation. That's what went on in that situation, all the way up until the point where they start apologizing and sort of recalling themselves. But I wanted to bring that out because, like I said, that scene sort of brought out a lot of the details that I want to touch on moving forward. All right, what I want to do now is I want to get into the actual account. All right, let's go into the book of Genesis. Let me see. What is this? It's Jeremiah. All right, I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 2. All right. I'm going to start at verse 15 and I'm going to read a little bit. It says, "And Yahweh Elohim took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat." Hold on 1 second. All right. "But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. And Yahweh Elohim said, It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an help meet for him." All right. A lot of people, when they read this, they say, he said he will make him a helpmeet, as if it's one word together. This is two separate words. All right. I will make him an help meet. This word meet is representing like good. So this help is talking about someone who would assist him, all right, or somewhat serve the man to a degree, all right. And this help would be a help that was meet for him. That's what the help is, all right. In any other situation or meaning, that's what the help would mean, all right. So this is why the Most High brought Eve out of Adam. When he said it's not good that the man should be alone, I will make him an help meet for him. And out of the ground, Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him. All right, so the Most High brought Adam into the garden, gave him dominion over all things. All right, but there was not a help or someone to assist Adam, you know. So the Most High caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Jehovah Elohim had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto Adam. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She should be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed." All right, so in this chapter, we see the Most High setting up Adam to to he gave him the dominion. All right, he put him in a garden to dress it and to keep it, and he gave him dominion over all things. All right. Once Adam named everything, right, it said that there was still not a help that was meet for him. So the Most High caused Adam to sleep. Once Adam slept, he took a rib from Adam and made the woman and brought her unto Adam. All right. So now, once the Most High brought the woman unto Adam, Adam pretty much named her. So the Most High gave him dominion over her as well. All right. This is the beginning of that. A lot of people get offended when these types of things are brought out, but this is just the order of things. Just like Adam named everything else, he named Eve as well. Now, Adam himself was made in a direct image of the Most High. But seeing that Eve was made from Adam, or she was made from the image and the glory of Adam, this constitutes them both being made in the image of the Most High. And that's not to say that the Most High is male and female. It's just connecting them both to the image of the Most High, seeing that she was made after the image and glory of him. All right. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. All right. So now that the Most High created the man after his image and he created the woman to be a help to the man, let's look at the history of when things went wrong. All right. We pretty much see the order that was set in the second chapter. You have the Most High, then you have Adam, and then you have Eve, you have the woman. All right. But let's look at what happened here in the third chapter. All right. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Jehovah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For Elohim doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as Elohim, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. All right, now, so when we watched the video, all right, there was something expressed in the video as we, what is it, verse 6. It says, And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat. All right. So now in the video, the woman expressed how, what was her statement? the brother said, "Taste and see that God is good," and she responded by saying, "God is thief," because he kept back secrets, from us, or he kept back things from us. And we hear this sentiment a lot. Um, I'm sure a lot of people have heard people say that, God was holding back secrets in the Garden of Eden. And this was the expression that was expressed in the video. And this is the same sentiment that Eve was deceived into believing, that the Most High was holding back secrets. And so she also is also a deeper motive behind this as well. But for her to see that the tree was good for food, pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. All right. So this is letting us know that Eve had a desire for this tree, and there was a reason for that. All right. But let's keep reading. It says, "And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and they made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. All right, right here in verse 12 is where a lot of people say Adam abandoned her. All right, but if we pay close attention, the Most High asked him, Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? What did Adam say? He said, and the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. So in essence, who did he really blame for this incident? Adam didn't abandon Eve. He pretty much put the blame back on the Most High. Said, This woman you gave me, it was the Most High who said it's not good for the man to be alone. All right. Now, am I saying that the blame is on the Most High? No. The blame was on who committed the acts, Adam and Eve. But we know that the Most High took the blame on himself. I can show you record to show you where Mashiach said himself that it's because of Adam and his children. All right, talking about the children of Israel who came in the flesh later, that the Mashiach came in the flesh to do the will of the Father. That's for another discussion. The man said, The woman whom thou gavest me to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. So people say that Adam abandoned Eve right here, all right, when that's really not the case, all right. Now, Eve did play a role. She was responsible, all right. She played a vital role in what took place. And this is why the Most High dealt with her as well, all right, in verse 13. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? All right. So the Most High held her accountable. What is this that you have done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. All right. So if we want to say Adam blamed Eve, who did Eve blame? right? And I'm not being tit for tat. I'm putting it in order, all right? Because the Most High put it in order. We're seeing an order to this, all right? The woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahuwah Elohim said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. All right, so notice when the Most High started handing out curses, all right, Adam told the Most High that he got the fruit from the woman. The woman told the Most High that the serpent beguiled her and she ate, all right? So when the Most High started dealing with the situation, he dealt with it from the bottom up, all right? Or he dealt with it from the serpent back down to Adam. And why is that? It's because the serpent, or Satan through the serpent, caused himself to be elevated into being God because of what Adam and Eve did. So he cursed the order of Satan. By them taking that fruit, that's what made him the God, or the Elohim of the earth. And that's clarified in Revelations, the 11th chapter. Then you know who the God of the earth is. So by Eve partaking of the fruit and Adam partaking after Eve, that's what made Satan the God of the earth. And so that's when the Most High cursed that order from the beginning. He said he will put enmity between the woman and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So he cursed the serpent. Then he cursed the woman, and unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. All right, so he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. All right, so right here, when he says he will multiply your sorrow and your conception, this is why a lot of times women deal with stress and different things mentally during their pregnancies. And this is outside of the physical pain, you know. And my wife and I, we have 5 children. And after each one, they pretty much wanted to give her what was known as a mental evaluation, you know, just to sort of test where she is mentally, because you see a lot of women, how we read in Deuteronomy 28, you know, a lot of women are stressed out when they have children. They stressed out with the burden of not being able to do the things that they would usually be able to do if they wouldn't have children, you know. And then a lot of them have to work and do things by themselves, and all of that is for a reason, you know. But that contributes to the sorrow, you know, not having a man around, you know, having to raise a child by yourself, along with, you know, dealing with the pain of bringing a child forth and all that. But then he said, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. All right, so now a lot of people say that verse 16, you know, is a complete curse on the woman. But he said, your desire should be to your husband. So why would this be a curse for a woman's, or for her desire to be to her husband? Number one, And number two, why would he even have to mention this to her, seeing that there was no other man around to be desired but him? All right, so now the serpent, remember the serpent told Eve that she could be as God. If she was made in the image of God herself, why would she not have, why would she not have known that already? And how could she have been deceived by that? It's pretty much letting you know that she wasn't made in the image of God herself. She was made in the image and the likeness of Adam. And so the Most High set his order from the beginning. And I'm laying all this down to sort of lead us into understanding why we see the war between the brothers and the sisters that we see today. All right, is due to the order that the Most High said in the beginning. He said, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. All right. But once we get into this other account, what we're going to do is the other account is going to bring out more clarity into what we read in this account of Genesis. All right. We're going to read the actual account of Adam and Eve, and we're going to revisit the same account that we just read, but from the account of Adam and Eve, and it's going to bring out more detail. All right. But why would he tell her that her desire is to be to her husband when her desire should have been for her husband anyway, and he should rule over thee? All right. It's because that when Satan told her that she could be as God, all right, that was the same as telling her that she could be in the same position that Adam was in. And the Most High didn't make her to be in that position. So from the beginning, Eve had a desire to be equal to Adam, all right, and it was for a purpose. And he shall rule over thee. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt thou return. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, or Kawah, because she was the mother of all living. And unto Adam also and to his wife did Yahweh Elohim make coats of skins and clothe them. All right, so forth and so on. So this is the Genesis account of what took place in the garden. All right, so now let's move forward into the account of Adam and Eve. And we're going to line up what we just read in Genesis 2 and 3 with what we read here. All right, we're going to get more detail to get an understanding of what took place. This is after Adam and Eve partook of the fruit. And on another time, on another discussion, we'll get more in depth with the history. But what I want to deal with now is the account of the curse that was placed upon Adam and Eve. All right, and we're going to see what took place. It says, on that day we heard the great prince Mikael blowing with his trumpet. Hold on one second. Okay. Let me see. It says, on that day we heard the great prince Mikael blowing with his trumpet and calling to the angels and saying, thus saith Jehovah, come with me to the garden and hear the judgment with which I shall judge Adam. And when Elohim appeared in splendor upon a chariot of cherubim in the garden, and angels proceeding before him and singing, its flowers and every tree of the garden also, thy father's lot and mine also. And the throne of Elohim stood fixed where the tree of life was. And Elohim called unto Adam, saying, Adam, where art thou? Can the house be hidden from the presence of his builder? And thy father answered and he said, we cannot hide from thee, Yahweh, but I am concealed from thy face, because I was afraid, because I am naked. I stand in awe before thy might, O Yahweh. And Elohim said to him, who told thee that thou art naked? Hast thou forsaken my commandment, which I command thee to keep? And Adam remembered the word which I spake unto him, saying, thou shalt not be endangered by the hand of Yahweh. And he turned unto me and said, what is this that thou hast done? And I said, the serpent deceived me. All right, so if you can't already tell, this is Eve sort of giving the account of what took place. And just to let you know, this is her speaking to her and Adam's children and letting them know why they see the things that they see happening, because at this point, Adam is going through a lot of pain and sickness, and his children are wondering why. And so, like I said in another discussion, for time purposes, we'll get into that. But once they saw Adam going through a lot of pain and sickness, they wonder why. And so Eve is giving them the account of what took place and why he's going through what he went through. And she's letting them know that when Adam stood before the Most High to give an account, it says that he remembered the word which I spake, talking about Eve unto him, saying, thou shalt not be endangered by the hand of Yahweh. And he turned unto me and said, what is this that thou hast done? And I said, the serpent deceived me. All right, so now that's similar to what the Most High asked her when when Adam told her, the woman that thou gave to be with me, she gave me, and I did eat. All right. The Most High turned to her and said, what is this that thou hast done? And so right here in this account, Adam is asking her that same question. And she responded by saying, the serpent deceived me. And Elohim said unto Adam, since thou hast not hearkened to my commandment, and thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, cursed is the ground in thy labors. Thou shalt work it, and it shall not give its strength. Thorns and thistles shall spring up for thee, and in the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat thy bread. Thou shalt be in manifold toils. Thou shalt not rest. Thou shalt be full of bitterness, and thou shalt not taste sweetness. Thou shalt contend with the fate of the sword. Thou shalt mourn. Thou shalt contend with the cold. Thou shalt have many strokes, and thou shalt not be rich. Thou shalt grow fat, and at thy end thou shalt not be established. The beast over whom thou didst have dominion shall rise up in rebellion against thee, for thou hast not kept my commandment. All right, so this is the curse that he placed on Adam for disobeying and heeding the voice of his wife when the Most High told them both not to partake of the forbidden tree. All right, so now let's look at this 25. And Yahweh turned unto me, talking about Eve, and said, because thou hast hearkened to the voice of the serpent and rebelled against my command, thou shalt be in travail and in great agonies. Thou shalt bring forth. In sorrow and trembling shalt thou bring forth children, and in 1 hour thou shalt draw nigh unto birth. and thou shalt be cut off from thy life, and thou shalt be brought low in great sorrows, and thou shalt confess and say, Yehovah, Yehovah, save me, and I will turn no more to the sin of the flesh. Therefore, according to thine own words, I will judge thee by reason of the enmity which the enemy has put in thee. Thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. All right. So, what is he saying here in the third and fourth verse? All right. He told her what would happen concerning the sorrow in bringing forth children. All right. He said, and thou shalt be cut off from thy life, and thou shalt be brought low in great sorrows. This is why a lot of cases they say when women give birth, they close to death in that moment. And a lot of women have lost their lives giving birth. You know, some women done it and had no problems. But this is one of the many travails that's placed on the woman and women in general, because of what took place in the beginning. But then he said, thou shalt confess and say, Yehovah, Yehovah, save me, and I will turn no more to the sin of the flesh. Therefore, according to thine own words, I will judge thee by reason of the enmity which the enemy has put in thee. All right. So he's saying right here how you'll have women who will come to repentance, and this is what he's telling Eve. He's saying you're going to come to a point of repentance. He's saying when you do, I'm going to judge you according to what you're saying. All right. Meaning, I'm going to judge you by your own words by reason of the enmity that was put in you. All right. So when Eve ate the fruit that the serpent deceived her into eating, he in essence sowed enmity in her toward the man, just like the Most High told the serpent that there will be enmity between the serpent and the woman's seed. All right. The same thing was sowed into the woman against the man. All right. Let's take a look at that real quick. I want to find the term enmity. Hold on. All right, let me share my screen real fast. All right. Enmity. So the Most High said that, let me read it again. He said, therefore, according to thine own words, I will judge thee by reason of the enmity which the enemy has put in thee. Thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So this enmity that the enemy put in you have caused you to go against the order that I set. So your desire is to be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. He's telling him that because when Eve partook of the fruit, her desire was to be in the place of Adam. That's why the serpent told her you could be as God, knowing good and evil. And so she partook of the fruit with that ambition in mind of being equal to Adam. All right, now I don't want to. In the other discussion, I'm gonna get into some more detail to bring out more of what we're dealing with. But to define enmity, it says the state or feeling of being actively opposed or hostile to someone or something. And so when we read this account, hold on one second. All right, so when we read this account of Adam and Eve, and we see verse 4, therefore, according to thine own words, I will judge thee by reason of the enmity which the enemy has put in thee. Thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. All right, so the enmity, like I said, that the enemy sowed into Eve was against this right here. All right, he shall rule over thee. All right, the fact that the Most High created Adam in his image and gave him the dominion and the rulership, the serpent or Satan automatically came in and tried to reverse that order by sowing enmity into the woman. And it's the reason why he did that. You know, before mankind was created, there was a dispute that took place between the Most High and the angels who rebelled. And that's what led Satan to do this. But nonetheless, we kind of read and got an idea of what took place. All right. Satan came in and deceived the woman. All right. She went for it because she had her own desires and her own ambitions within her. All right. Because of her desire for the tree, she allowed Satan to deceive her. And this is why the Most High cursed her the way he did. Now, real quick, I'm going to share one more thing and then I'm going to close this out and I'm going to do a part 2. But real quick, what I want to address, this is from the Apocalypse of Abraham right here. And what I want to address is what Eve should have done, all right, in that situation. And this is something for us to sort of be edified by. Whenever we are encountered with certain evil spirits or even people who pose as evil spirits or come with certain things, all right, there's a way to deal with that, and we're going to bring that out. But before we touch on that, just know and understand that we do not have to address everything and everybody, all right, particularly things that are meant for evil towards us. And I'm bringing that out because what I'm going to show you is how Eve should have handled Satan in that situation. All right. This is dealing with Abraham when the angel took him up on the mount. And when he went up on the mount to fast, he encountered an evil spirit in the form of an unclean fowl, unclean bird. And this bird was saying things to him. And as this bird was saying things to him, as a matter of fact, the bird was the spirit of Zaziel, if you are familiar with the book of Enoch. And in the law, I believe it's in the book of Leviticus, the spirit of Zaziel was inside of this unclean fowl. And he was speaking to Abraham. And as he was speaking to Abraham, the angel that took Abraham up on the mount told Abraham how to deal with this unclean spirit. All right. And that's what I want to get into. All right. It says, what I want to start. It says, and the angel said to me, Abraham, And I said, Here am I, thy servant. And he said, Know from henceforth that the Eternal One hath chosen thee, he whom thou lovest. Be of good courage, and use this authority so far as I bid thee against him who slandered truth. Should I not be able to put him to shame who have scattered over the earth the secrets of heaven and have rebelled against the mighty one? Say to him, Be thou the burning coal of the furnace of the earth. Go, Azazel, into the inaccessible parts of the earth. For thy heritage is to be over those existing with thee, being born with the stars of the clouds, with the men whose portion thou art, and who through thy being exist, and thine enmity is justification. On this account, by thy perdition, disappear from me. And I uttered these words which the angel had taught me. And he said, Abraham, and I said, Here am I, thy servant. And the angel said to me, Answer him not, for God hath given him power over those who do answer him. And the angel spake to me a second time and said, Now rather how much he speak to thee, answer him not, that his will may have no free course in thee, because the eternal and mighty one hath given him weight and will. Answer him not. I did what was commanded me by the angel, and however much he spake to me, I answered him nothing whatsoever. All right, I read this portion right here to point out this is what Eve should have done. This is how she should have responded. All right, with nothing at all. All right, and why should she have not responded? It's telling you, answer him nothing, for God hath given him power over those who do answer him. All right. So by her answering him, that pretty much gave him power and gave her over to his will. And the angel spake to me a second time and said, Now rather however much he spake to me, answer him not, that his will may have no free course in thee, because the eternal and mighty one hath given him weight and will. Answer him not. So in other words, if you yield to him, all right, understand that he has weight and will, he has power to allure you and to deceive you. So answer him not. All right. So this is pretty much how Eve should have handled that situation. And this is how any sister should handle a situation where evil is present or where you're being enticed in any kind of way to do something that you shouldn't do. All right. Notice that uh, Eve was approached when Adam wasn't around, and pretty much that's how it's going to be in every situation. All right. Women, it's good for the women to understand the weight and the power that you have and how the enemy is going to use you and how he uses you to ruin the situation. All right. He knows that women are allured by certain things. Women like certain things that they see. And I'm not putting this on everybody, but this is a situation that took place. It still happens now, you know. But when the serpent came to Eve to beguile her or to deceive her, all right, this is how she should have handled it. She should have ignored him and she should have not answered him. All right. She should have not given him any type of leeway or any type of opportunity to destroy or to bring her down because by him bringing her down, he used that as a means to bring down Adam. And once that was done, that's when sin was brought in. All right. But from the beginning, that's pretty much the history of what took place, of why we see the war happening between our brothers and our sisters. And this is from a biblical perspective. You know, the Bible goes into much more information concerning this issue. You know, but what I wanted to do was lay down a simple perspective as to why we see happening the things happening that we see with our brothers and sisters. And if we deal with it in simplicity, then hopefully this could bring about some healing and some hope. You know, um, one thing I do want to address before I close out is uh, in terms of a solution. You know, one thing we can do, or there's a lot of things to be done, but one thing we can do first is what we just did, getting an understanding of the history of what took place. The Bible says, in all I get an understanding. So, in order to fix anything, you know, especially like this, we have to go back and get a good understanding of what took place. And in getting that understanding, we have to understand what was the purpose and intent, what was the order that was set, you know, where did that go wrong? What was done, you know? What are the things that we're doing now that's keeping us from reverting back to that order that the Most High set? All right. And when we establish that the Most High put the man in charge, or he put the man as the head, you know, a lot of people look down on that situation. But once again, what we have to do is we have to go back and understand what the Most High's purpose and intent. You know, when he did that, he created the man in his image. And so us as brothers, we have to go back and get an understanding of what was his purpose and intent for that, and then do what we can to get back in alignment with that. And what we need also along with that is we need the support, the help, the prayers, and the love from our sisters among our people. When we see brothers doing this, we have to be encouraged. You know, we have to. We need more people to support and encourage that. You know, because that's the only way we're gonna, you know, be able to come together in the truth. You know, but this is, like I said, the history of what took place between our brothers and sisters, why we see the war happening between our brothers and sisters from a biblical perspective. It goes back to what took place in the garden. You know, the order that the Most High set was disrupted by Eve's desire for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now remember, they both had access to the tree of life. You know, the Most High said that they could have eaten from the tree of life freely, but they chose to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And it was through partaking of that tree that elevated um, Satan to being the Elohim of the earth. All right, by our forefather and foremother yielding to that commandment and to that destruction that made him the Elohim of the earth. All right. And that reversed the order that the Most High intended in the earth. And to this day, we're seeing the repercussions of that. All right. So, from a simple biblical perspective, this was a take on why we see the war happening between our brothers and our sisters. And I hope this was edifying. Most High willing, I'll be back with a part 2. Peace and blessings.